Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Arundhati Ramnan and here are the headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. Sensex and Nifty snap a 6-day winning streak. Nifty drops below 26,000. All sectoral indices end in the red. Mid-caps fare worse than the blue chips. Strong debut for edtech company Physicswallah. The stock lists at a 36% premium, gains a market capitalization of over 44,000 crore rupees on day one. The end of earnings season sparks a block deal rush. Promoters and strategic investors pair stake worth 8,800 crore rupees in Emphasis, Paytm, ITC, Emcure Pharma and Zinca Logistics. Capital market representatives meet Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman for pre-budget consultations, seek lower securities transaction tax on cash market trades, proposes buyback tax only on the profit component. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal says there is no hiatus in the relationship between India and the US as trade talks continue. His statement comes a day after Trump's advisor Kevin Hassett said a trade deal with India is close. The ball gets rolling on PSU Bank consolidation. Finance Minister tells CNBC TV 18 that work on creating big world-class banks has begun. Veterans warn that any consolidation plan must focus on synergy, not just size. Also caution against creating banks that are too big to fail. Grow's purple patch remains intact even 5 days after listing, captures a market capitalization of 1.2 lakh crore rupees, exceeds BSE's valuation, but will the rally continue? CNBC TV 18 analyzes the key metrics. Relief for builders, miners, steel industry. Supreme Court reverses its own judgment that projects violating requirement of prior environmental clearance could not be approved retrospectively, observes that the previous judgment would lead to demolition of public projects worth 20,000 crore rupees. Enforcement Directorate searches a dozen premises linked to real money gaming companies Winzo and Gamescraft. Sources claim authorities have unearthed crypto wallets used by promoters, indicated possible money laundering. Police deployed at fuel stations across Mumbai as CNG supply remains in short supply. Thousands of taxis and auto rickshaws stay off roads, crippling the transport across the city for the third day. Mahanagar resumes supply to some fuel stations. United Nations Security Council endorses US President Trump's plan for Gaza, which includes deploying an international force and a roadmap for a sovereign Palestinian state. But Hamas rejects the resolution, claiming it does not meet Palestinian demands. Those were the headlines that we're tracking for you this evening, but let's start with the market action of the day. Sensex and Nifty snapped a 6-day winning streak. Sensex lost nearly 300 points and the Nifty lost over 100 points to drop below that 26,000 mark. All sectoral indices ended in the red, with the Nifty Bank Index faring slightly better than the benchmarks. However, mid-caps underperformed the blue chips. Morgan Stanley expects Indian markets to regain momentum in 2026 with a bull case target of 107,000 for the Sensex by December 2026. In its latest outlook, the brokerage says the index could surge nearly 27% from current levels if macro and policy tailwinds hold. Even in its base case, assigned a 50% probability, the Sensex is seen at 95,000 by the end of 2026, implying a 13% upside. Gold prices fell for the fourth straight session as global markets reacted to a stronger dollar and fading hopes of an interest rate cut by the US Fed next month. Gold prices in India also reflected this weakness, with 24-carat gold prices at 12,343 rupees a gram. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has said that there's no hiatus in India's relationship with the United States. Speaking at the 22nd Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, Goyal said that a comprehensive partnership has many elements, all of which may not run at the same speed. This comes a day after White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett said that the U.S. is very close to reaching a deal with India.
We're still quite hopeful, but it got pretty complicated because there are a lot of different variables in the India-American relationship. But they're good friends, and we're hoping we can work it out soon.
I don't believe there's any hiatus in the relationship. It continues to be very, very important, very strategic for both countries, the United States and India. परिवार में भी कभी-कभी थोड़ी बहुत नोक-झोंक तो होती रहती है. And of course, negotiations is a process, and India as a nation has to secure its interests, has to secure the interests of our stakeholders, businesses.
EdTech platform Physicswallah made a strong debut on the Lal Street with its shares listing 36% higher than its IPO price. The company's post-issue market capitalization was close to 44,000 crore rupees. Speaking to CNBC TV18, Physicswallah's co-founder Pratik Maheshwari said the firm hopes to grow at a rate of 30% and turn profitable in under 12 months.
We are on a mission, and that mission is more important. That access is more important. There will be quarters and quarters in our life, but the year in the student's life doesn't come back. This is an irreversible year for my students. So so continue to make impact in the student's life, as well as we will be utmost responsible to create our shareholder value as well. So the path to PAT level profitability will achieved in less than 12 months from now. We will continue to grow more than 30% in upcoming years.
Let's now take a look at the slew of block deals on the Lal Street today. Emphasis promoter Blackstone is likely to have sold 9.5% equity in the company through block deals. The floor price was expected to be pegged at a little over 2,500 rupees per share. That's at a 4.4% discount to the stock's closing price yesterday. At this price, the total deal size amount is a little over 4,600 crore rupees. Shares of Paytm's parent company 197 Communications fell after 2% equity changed hands in a large block deal. The shares were exchanged at an average of 1,300 rupees per share, taking the total transaction value to 1,700 crore rupees. Sources told CNBC TV18 that private equity funds, CEF3 Mauritius, CEF Partners and Elevation Capital were the sellers. Grow's stellar run continues even 5 days after its listing. The stock has gained every day since listing, soaring a whopping 94% from its issue price of 100 rupees. The company now has a market capitalization of 1.2 lakh crore rupees. The next major trigger for the stock will be its earnings, which is expected this Friday. The big question that we're asking is, are they ready for the long innings? Hormaz Patakia analyzes.
Well, if you are a cricket fan, you'd remember the late Dean Jones's very famous remark. Every time someone hit a youth six, he used to say, going, going, gone. Now, however, this latest listing on the Lal Street has been growing and growing some more, at least in terms of stock price. Now, it's been 5 days since Grow listed, and the stock has nearly doubled from its IPO price of $100. But how does this latest Dalal Street entrant stack up when it compared to some of its listed and unlisted peers? Now, on the revenue front, Grow's top line is lower than its peers like Angel One and Zerodha. Now, active clients for Grow are the highest for any platform, and therefore it stacks well above the other two names. But when it comes to the average revenue per user, or the ARPU, that is well below Angel One and even lower compared to Zerodha, whose ARPU is well above 10,000 rupees. But can Grow play catch up with its peers going forward? Now, the management expects its top line to grow between 25 to 30% and costs to grow between 15 to 20% over the next few years. Basis that, if we take a 5-year projection, Grow's revenues could go up to 14,500 crore rupees, its margins from 63% could grow up to 80%, and its net profit from the 1,800 crores currently could touch levels of 8,500 crore rupees. Now, this is an FY30 projection, assuming that Grow continues to grow at the pace that the management has guided for. Now, when we take a look at the PEG ratio, or the price to earnings growth for Grow, that comes up to 1.63. Now, that is based on a 37% profit CAGR, and it's based on its FY25 EPS of around 3 rupees. Now, while Grow may be lagging its peers currently on certain aspects, it has surpassed them all when it compares to its value. Now, at the highest point of the day, Grow was valued at well over 1.1 lakh crore rupees, which is nearly the sum total of Angel One, Motilal Oswal and Nuvama Wealth put together. The management spoke to us earlier and they spoke about how they plan on growing the MTF book and that the MTF business will become bigger than the personal loan business going forward. Now, with a healthy growth guidance, expansion to newer businesses, grows ARPUs may subsequently also see some uptick as clients in different verticals begin to increase. Now, whether that can help the company catch up with peers, only time will tell. But for now, the next major growth trigger for Grow comes on Friday when it reports its quarterly results, which will be its first after its listing. Now, that's Grow for you. It has made quite some noise in the first few days of being a public company, and the shareholders would only hope that the stock continues to hit it out of the park going forward as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Harmaz. Now, the Mumbai Police's Economic Offences Wing will summon all accused in the alleged financial fraud at the Leelavati Kirtilal Mehta Medical Trust. Sources tell CNBC TV18 that HDFC Bank MD and CEO Shashidhar Jagdishan will also be summoned. The complaint filed by the current trustees alleges that former trustees engaged in irregular financial practices amounting to 1,300 crore rupees. The Supreme Court has set aside its own verdict, which ruled that projects violating requirement of prior environmental clearance could not be approved retrospectively. In a 2:1 split verdict, the top court held that the earlier verdict would be damaging to public interest as it would lead to the demolition of public projects worth 20,000 crore rupees. The order comes as a major relief for realtors, miners and the Steel Authority of India. The Apex Court has agreed to hear a PIL seeking a court-monitored probe of an alleged banking fraud involving Reliance Communications. The court has sought reply from the Union Government, CBI, ED and Anil Ambani within 3 weeks. The plea filed by former Finance Secretary EAS Sarma claims that over 40,000 crore rupees has been siphoned off. India's state-run green lender, IRDA, is planning to raise up to 3,000 crore rupees through a qualified institutional placement. Sources tell CNBC TV18 that the issue would be priced at a discount of up to 5% to the current market price. This fresh fundraising move is part of IREDA's larger capital augmentation blueprint to meet the rising demand for clean energy. On to a CNBC TV18 exclusive. Capital market representatives met Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman for pre-budget consultations. The industry has sought lower securities transaction tax on cash market trades and proposed buyback tax only on the profit component. Shivani Bajaj has more. Shivani, take us through the industry's proposals.
Well, yes, the Finance Minister held a pre-budget consultation with the market representatives here in the Kartavya Bhavan in New Delhi, and sources are indicating some significant asks from the industry. Now, top of the list is a push to reduce STT on cash market trades and keep it lower than derivatives, something industry players say is essential for improving the market depth. There was also a detailed discussion on boosting household participation in equities with a proposal to raise it from the current 5% to around 8%, signaling a big shift in how savings could be channelized into the capital markets. Now, another key recommendation by the industry participants was on buyback taxation, where companies want the tax to apply only on the profit portion instead of the entire buyback amount, a move they argue will encourage more efficient capital return. Now, sources also say that there is a call to align short-term dividend tax rates for domestic investors with NRIs. Right now, NRIs pay 20% in the short term, while domestic investors can be taxed as high as 42%. So all eyes are now on whether the Finance Ministry takes these suggestions on board as it shapes the upcoming budget. Back to you.
So Shivani there with the latest on that front. But on that note, it is time for us to head into a short break. Coming up next, police deployed at fuel stations across Mumbai as CNG supply remains in short supply. More details on that when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Business 360. Mumbai's public transport services are still in limbo as CNG remains in short supply for the third straight day after damage to a major gas pipeline. The management of Mahanagar Gas, which has an exclusive license for Mumbai, had told CNBC TV18 that supply would be restored by noon. CNG pumps saw long queues for refueling. Commuters had a harrowing time as several cabs and auto rickshaws were off the roads. Andhra Pradesh is going all out to attract big-ticket investments as the newly returned Chandrababu Naidu-led government looks to reignite growth in the state. At the CII Partnership Summit in Visakhapatnam, the state unveiled a massive investment push, signing MOUs worth nearly 13.25 lakh crore rupees that could generate over 16 lakh jobs. From Reliance to Adani to Renew and Brookfield, India's biggest names are betting on Andhra. CNBC TV 18 Shilpa Ranipeta brings you this report from the summit.
All eyes are on Vizag, where the Andhra Pradesh government is making its boldest pitch yet to position the state as the next big destination for incoming capital, for innovation, for investments and for jobs. At the CII Partnership Summit in Visakhapatnam, where the newly returned government is pulling out all stops to reposition this state as the next big investment magnet. Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has set ambitious targets to sign MOUs and attract investments worth several lakh crore rupees, and his top team is here to ensure speed, stability and an administrative reset.
Andhra Pradesh is very interestingly very good ecosystem. As a matter of fact, just like India, Andhra Pradesh is a sleeping giant now. We are having 1,000 kilometers sea coast. On east coast, nobody is having this advantage. I want to build every 50 kilometers one port. We are going to launch private sector, space city, drone city, electronic city, aerospace city, and also semiconductor. You name anything, we want to work with that.
Well, 2047, we want Andhra Pradesh to be a $2.4 trillion economy. So Andhra currently is about $180 billion economy. That means we need to grow at 15% CAGR. So if this kind of growth rate has to be delivered, we have to fire across all sectors. And as a government, our target is $1 trillion worth of investment coming into the state of Andhra Pradesh.
The response has been strong. 82,000 crore rupees committed by Renew, 1 lakh crore rupee commitment from the Adani Group, 4,000 crore of investment from Reliance Industries, $12 billion from Brookfield, and these are just some of the over 400 MOUs that have been signed here at this summit.
The government has managed to give us the land allot land in 3 weeks' time. Right. So, like you mentioned, it is going to be one of the biggest beverage plants. In fact, we are setting up a food plant, food park, an integrated food park. Right. And we have also promised to set it up in a record time. We are planning commercialization in the first quarter next year itself. So in a very short span of time. So on total, all plants put together, the investment would be around 4,000 CR. Okay. And I think would generate something like 6,500 jobs.
The total announcement, of course, is for 82,000 crores. As you rightly said, we have one project that is already going on right now. In addition to that, you've signed for other MOUs today, amounting to, as you said, 60,000 crores more. Those are basically a green hydrogen hub that we intend to set up here for a couple of pumped hydro projects that we want to do here. It's for an ingot wafer solar manufacturing plant. And of course, you want to set up more clean energy capacity as well.
Just to break up the investment side, we're looking at, like he said, overall over 1,000 crores of investment. In terms of aerospace and automotive, we're going to have two separate investments going parallelly. So we build both those businesses. Our automotive is not just automotive, but it comprises several other segments.
GMR, we're building the Bhogapuram airport over here. So the cargo facility that we're building, obviously it's a airport which is international airport. It'll have all the requirements of an international airport, and we're looking at working very closely with the government. How do we really build, Visakhapatnam into a multimodal hub?
Just signed an MOU with the government in Andhra Pradesh to build 500 megawatts of AI infrastructure-ready data centers, and the gateway of these data centers will be managed through an AI government data sovereignty company, and they will be the investors in the first phase of this project, which is $200 million in the first stage, and that's 100 megawatts of construction.
Execution is now key, and the government says it's ready to walk the talk. Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has promised that once a company commits an investment, it will be the state that will follow up and not necessarily the investor. The pitch here is clear. Big commitments will be followed by tight execution. And the target here is $500 billion in investments in 3 years and 50 lakh jobs being created in the state of Andhra Pradesh.
Karnataka wants to capitalize and grow on its position as India's IT hub to become the country's centre for artificial intelligence and deep tech. The state has gotten a 1,000 crore rupee war chest ready to get the party started. But CNBC TV 18's Meghna Sen reports that the game is not just about state support, but about providing an environment and infrastructure that can accelerate this next phase of growth.
Priyank Kharge, Karnataka's electronics, IT and biotechnology minister, has set himself some big targets, starting with making Karnataka a leader in the deep tech race with a focus on AI and space tech. This means a dedicated policy with a 10-year horizon. That's what he calls the deep tech decade.
The government of Karnataka is going to concentrate on the deep tech stack, that is AI, quantum, space tech. So in order to do that, we just can't have a policy just for a year or 2 years. So deep tech is a much more serious game, and we are ensuring that the next 10 years we have a complete focus on deep tech. And we are creating centers of excellence. We are creating common instrumentation facilities, and more importantly, we are also creating funds. So our new startup policy is for 518 crores, whereas the deep tech policy is close to around 600 crores. So we ourselves are having more than 1,000 crores to be funded for deep tech. It could be grants, it could be fund of funds, and also I have reached out to the private sector, VCs especially, to match the grant so that we will be able to ensure the ecosystem accelerates across Karnataka at a faster pace.
Kharge expects startups to play a big role in this. Currently, only about 10% of startup funding in India is directed towards deep tech ventures. This is slated to change. The plan also involves building an ecosystem founded on a solid base of skill sets, which means reskilling and upskilling thousands in emerging technologies.
When it comes to attracting and keeping private investment, Karnataka, especially Bengaluru, has one big hurdle: crumbling infrastructure. The problems go beyond bad roads, broken bridges and water scarcity. But the state government says it is taking corrective action.
These include the addition of 95 kilometers of metro rail and 42 kilometers on a double-decker elevated platform and tunnel roads along the north-south and east-west corridors.
We are putting in more than 40,000 crores only in developing infrastructure, and this will not happen overnight. But have a look at other metros, other places, and then you will see that Bengaluru is far, far better. You can't even breathe in Delhi. You can't even tread into Mumbai when there is monsoons. But unfortunately, only Bangalore gets highlighted because people expect the government of Karnataka to solve the problems.
Kharge insists his plan will prevail and the state will emerge the world's most reliable hub for cutting-edge technologies. As Kharge puts it, the state only lacking headlines, not policies. In Bengaluru, Meghna Sen.
And with that, it is a wrap on this edition of Business 360. More news and updates continue right here on CNBC TV 18.